Hi everybody, it is Friday, May 18th, 2012. Thanks for stopping by. You know, I still talk a little bit now and then to the Nazis, the Stormfront people, the Bob Whitaker moron mantra people. And, you know, it's just funny to me that they're so transparent in their hate and their bigotry, and yet they don't understand just how transparent they are. They don't understand how obvious it is what they're doing. They think that they can trick people. They think that they can trick me and tell me that they're not Nazis, that they don't hate anybody, that they're not authoritarian, all of this stuff. And it's comical, really. It's especially comical when they start accusing me of being a racist and not being a racist almost in the same breath, and criticizing me for both, criticizing me for not being a racist and then criticizing me for being a racist. I just get the feeling that I'm dealing with people that are really rejects from the insane asylum, diseased minds that don't really merit conversation. It's funny that they still have a really hard time answering that same simple question that I asked them on the first day that I met them, and that is whether or not they support racism against white people. Now, some of them I have beat them over the head with that question until they finally answered. And most of the time they answer that they do support racism against white people, which of course is inherently anti-white. And occasionally they'll tell me that they don't support racism against white people, which is anti-racist and, according to them, inherently anti-white. So, as I've mentioned before, they have no right answer to that question, and they know that. They know that before they start talking. That's why they never answer until I ask them over and over and over again, and finally they answer, and I let them know that they're full of shit, and then they try to change the subject and move on. Or they do change the subject every single time. They won't dwell on that because they know that they're full of shit. And I believe that my videos have been linked on Stormfront and National Salvation and other Nazi websites. Apparently the Nazis don't like me very much, which is awesome. I'm really glad that they don't like me, because it means that they find my arguments troublesome. And that's the goal. That's the goal. But, these people are just sometimes so comical. I just wonder if I'm dealing with somebody who is incapable of thinking. Literally incapable of thinking, or just totally dishonest to the point where the whole thing is like a performance art. They're just putting on a mask and stepping into a professional wrestling ring every time they speak. It's just a big show. Like today, I was talking to a guy from South Africa, a white supremacist, and he's talking about, how they're forcing black people on him. He doesn't want to live with black people. And I said, hey, dumbass, you're in Africa. What did you expect? If you don't want to live with black people, why don't you go somewhere else? It's not like the black people came there in boats. You came there in a boat, or your ancestors did, and that's fine. Hey, I don't have a problem with that, okay? I don't have a problem with that. But if you don't like the fact that the black people are there, then why don't you just go somewhere else, right? Don't expect them to pick up and leave because you hate them. So, this guy, and that was just the tip of the iceberg. He's telling me, okay, all the black people are rich and the white people are poor and they're being oppressed by the black people. They can't get jobs and they can't get paid the same amount. The black people are always paid more. Apparently he doesn't have any idea that the black people in South Africa are really poor. Okay, and then he told me, well, yeah, white people are richer than black people because apartheid has not totally been dismantled, okay? There's still vestiges of that system in place. And the black people are really poor and really excluded, okay? Excluded and marginalized in many ways. And some of them are angry about that. But, he said, okay, yes, we are richer than them, but we'd be even richer than we are now if it wasn't for them oppressing us. Even though white people still have more power, okay? He told me that something like 65,000 people had been murdered. White farmers had been murdered, which is a lie. The real number is 3,000, which is bad. Okay, I'm not saying that those 3,000 murders aren't bad. They are bad, but it's not 65,000. Okay, he was telling me that in America, black people are richer than white people. I mean, come on. I live here. Okay, I know a little bit better than that. And the whole time he was telling me about how inherently superior white people are, and also that he's not a racist, and that I am a racist because I defend black people as being human beings. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. It's really one of those things where somebody is just peeing on your leg and telling you it's raining, and I don't understand why people do that. And just over and over again, thinking that you're going to fall for that. I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me. Why would you make those sorts of arguments? But probably just another example of a crazy person with a computer and a lot of free time, just working out their demons. I've seen that a lot before. And, it's really entertaining, but also kind of sad. So another thing I wanted to talk about was Trayvon Martin. Now, a lot of things have come out about the Trayvon Martin case, and it doesn't look good for Zimmerman, to say the least. But people will twist this stuff around to make Zimmerman the victim, even though he confronted Trayvon and shot Trayvon to death. People will tell you that Trayvon was a criminal because he was black. They'll tell you that he had it coming, the world is better, even though they never met Trayvon Martin in their life and they have no idea what kind of person he was. But he was black, so the world is better off. And it seems to me that anyone who defends Trayvon Martin has to be a white supremacist. There's just no other way, because, defends Zimmerman, has to be a white supremacist because, if you think about this, we don't know exactly what the fight between Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin was like, or even if there was a fight, but there probably was a fight. We don't know what happened, in total. But we do know this. These are just the things that we know for sure. That Trayvon Martin was unarmed. He was 17 years old. He was in his neighborhood where his dad was with his girlfriend. He was pursued by a man with a loaded pistol and confronted by that man. And he was heard screaming for help. And then he was shot. Now, we also know now that the shot was to the heart and it was from intermediate distance. Now, that means that Zimmerman was not, he didn't shoot him point blank. So Zimmerman was not on the ground. He was not fighting Trayvon Martin. And he shot him while Trayvon Martin was screaming for help. Now that's murder. Okay, that's not self-defense. When you shoot somebody at intermediate range while they're screaming for help, it doesn't really matter what happened before that. Okay, and we all know that. If you do that, you are a murderer. You're not defending yourself when you shoot somebody who is unarmed at intermediate range and that person is screaming for help. That's not self-defense, okay? That's murder. Now, anyone who says otherwise is a white supremacist, okay? Because, and here's how you know, because if you flip the script around and you had a black man doing the same thing to a white man, or a half white and a half Hispanic man, or whatever you want to call him, it doesn't matter, an Asian man, they would not be taking the side of the black man, and they know it. They would not be sitting there telling you that a black man has the right to hunt down a white man with a pistol, confront him, get into a fight with him, and then, you know, have his eyes blackened or whatever, his nose broken, and then get up and point that gun at the guy, and while the white man is screaming for help, shoot him in the heart. Okay? Nobody would make that argument. Now, any of you white supremacists out there, do you want to make that argument? Do you want to tell me that a black man can grab a pistol and go hunt down a white man, say, hey, what are you doing here? And then the white man, seeing a black man with a pistol, gets scared and starts fighting the guy, okay? And the black man gets, you know, he could have his head bashed, his eyes blackened, his nose broken, his teeth knocked out, whatever, okay? Have a broken leg. Then after the fight, he gets up and points the gun at the white man at intermediate range and shoots him in the heart while the white man is screaming for help. Would any of you Nazis like to tell me that that is self-defense? Please do. Please. Because I could really use a good laugh, especially on this subject. So I invite your comments. Please tell me that you think that's self-defense. Thanks for watching.